All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to give people just another couple minutes to gather. We're very excited that you're here. I'll be back in just a minute and we'll kick this thing off. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Partner Signal Live. I'm Sam Gong. I'm the leader of the marketing team here at WorkSpan. And this is our quarterly event where we bring the ecosystem together. We bring partner managers together. And we talk about what the best teams are doing to hit their revenue goals and their growth goals. So very excited that you're here. Let's go ahead and dive in. We've got a really great program this morning. So one of the things that I love about the ecosystem is huge, but the community in the ecosystem feels tight. It feels small. And this summit, every quarter, we have people introduce themselves in chat, as some people have started to do. We have connections that are made. We have new partnerships that form and business that gets done from the ideas and connections that happen here. So we love this quarterly gathering. We're very excited that people are here. And one of the reasons we do this is so that people can meet each other and engage in the chat. So don't be shy, go ahead and introduce yourself. So quick introduction for those of you who are attending for the first time. WorkSpan is on a journey. We are an AI native company. And as the marketing leader, my team feels this. We've been living this for the last 2 years, where every aspect of our jobs has changed. The way that we're bringing AI into the way that we manage the buyer experience. We create matchmaking events, matchmaking apps for conference events where partner leaders are able to find each other through WorkSpan AI, looking at their past experience, the types of partnerships they're building, and able to meet each other based on that expertise. We have transcribers on our meetings that automatically update our project management software. We have onboarding tools for all of our new hires. Partnerships is a deep and complicated space, and we've trained AI specifically to coach people through their onboarding. And then, of course, in our own go-to-market, we drink our own champagne. We use WorkSpan within our CRM to go to market with our partners. And so truly across every aspect of our jobs, everything has changed in these past couple of years. We are living this change. Let's go ahead to the next slide. And go back to when ChatGPT first launched, and we had this weird new tool that you could log into, and you could ask for a text response, and you would get something back that felt sort of intelligent and human. We all went and said, what can this chat tool do? And we started asking it questions. We are so far beyond that. WorkSpan AI launched our first fully AI product a year ago, and we have reimagined from first principles now how we do our jobs internally and how partner managers are able to unlock the power of their ecosystem. Let's go ahead and build this by redesigning end-to-end flows around AI capabilities. So it's not prompting, it's not getting text responses, it's looking at how do we engage, how do we combine data and business process and context to power agents that support people in all the work they have to do. And this is a really exciting time, and we're excited to be 1 year post the launch of WorkSpan AI and have some great stories from people and customers that have been deploying these technologies in their partnerships to share what this world looks like. So one more slide from me here. Thank you. We are WorkSpan. It is our mission to help businesses achieve more together. All of the partner managers on this call, everybody who is looking to unlock the value of their ecosystem and partnerships, your mission is our mission. So we're very proud to support you. Okay. Just quick flash of the agenda for today. Mayank is going to take the stage in a second. He's our CEO, and he'll tie the threads together from what we're going to hear from Nina Harding at Microsoft, David Meyer at Qualtrics, and Braun from DocuSign. We do have a couple fireside chats and a live demo that Alex and David are going to do for us right in the middle. So stick around for every one of these sections. They're all amazing stories. Thank you guys for being here. And with that, I'm going to introduce my CEO, Mayank, to come up and take the stage and talk about the next phase of AI and partnerships. Good morning, Mayank.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning to you, everybody. It's been a great year for partnering, and what a great year with AI coming in. Such a space it creates for us to innovate and deliver higher value to our internal and external stakeholders. It's never been a more exciting time to be in partnering. So today I thought I would share with you 4 patterns that we have been seeing as a company as we engage in hundreds of programs across our customers, as we help our customers partner better together with their partnerships to serve their end customers. There are certain truths that have emerged from these engagements, and I thought it would be this would be a good moment for me to summarize 4 of these important patterns that inform everything we are doing as we pursue the craft of partnering in today's day and age. So if we step into the first slide, please. So one of the first patterns that is striking to me is every year the need for partnering keeps increasing. And there is just sheer amount of signal that is coming from everywhere that partnerships are becoming more and more the primary motion in how enterprise value gets created and delivered. So this year, for example, across all the enterprise commits that have happened to the public clouds, the number has reached a staggering size of about $150 billion in committed spend every quarter that companies are spending in IT is flowing through marketplaces. And to dip into that sheer volume of commit, to be for your company to be a participant in receiving your project's budget from this committed revenue, you have to be a partner with one of the cloud providers, list on their marketplace, and co-sell with them to transact on the marketplace, so that you're not fighting for the remnant budget in the IT. And that means that every direct seller who's fighting out there for budgets is relying on one form of partnering, specifically the cloud partnering, to get access to their budgets in their day-to-day sales cycles. The second signal that came out that was rather surprising in the primacy of the number. Forrester Research did a research and published a research recently that 2 in 3 B2B companies are relying on partnering to be their growth engine. That is 67% of the largest companies in the market are relying on partnering to help them grow their pipeline and deliver more revenue for their stakeholders. A third signal is from Anthropic, one of the most fantastic companies that has emerged in this new space of AI, that has decided and announced publicly that they will invest $100 million. And they're investing $100 million not in building another model, not in building another app that they are bringing to the market, but in building out their own partnering ecosystem so that they could bring their AI capabilities to the end customer through the delivery vehicles of their partnerships, right? So even the biggest companies the most innovative companies in the world are relying on partnering to bring changes to bring their new technologies and capabilities to the end customer. And and these three are not just the only signals. Recently, AWS announced an MCP server for their own partner portal, which means AWS is now ready to accept that in partnering, it will not just be humans who partner with AWS, but they are allowing their partners' agents to engage with their agents on their side so that the scale and volume of partnering can continue to grow. So everywhere we see, it's becoming quite clear that partnering is a must in growing revenue. And so the question for us, for you in the audience is, are your partnering engine ready and developed and mature to tap into this moment so that you can also help your company grow through these through the growth arm of partnering. And if you could go to the next slide, please. The second pattern that we are observing as people prepare their partnering engines to drive and to deliver growth is that co-sell is becoming the unifying, repeating motion that is driving revenue across all partner types. So cloud partners made co-sell really famous and uh, available with Amazon, with Microsoft, with Google announcing co-selling capabilities with their partners. But that same motion that you could do with your cloud is now driving revenue for a variety of different partner types. So we have seen people co-selling with their resellers. We have seen people co-selling with their OEM partners to drive better revenue, to drive more and better revenue. We have seen people doing co-selling with services companies and MSPs to deliver more revenue, and people co-selling even with their MSPs, with their software and technology partners, to have a shared pipeline of customers, to have a shared context of what the opportunity is and what role each company can play in a coordinated selling motion so that win rates and deal sizes grow, so that both you and your partner can win the opportunity in a more elegant manner, delivering higher value to the end customer. So even though these partner types may be different, it is really paying off to understand the basic skill of co-selling and know that co-selling mastery will help drive revenue across multiple partnering motions. The third pattern that is emerging, if you could go to the next slide, is that the demand on partner managers to be productive keeps going up. And the demand will be pretty high this year. Now, our partner managers are have the need to deliver productivity by leveraging two skills that they have groomed and developed over the years. The first is the skill of establishing trust across two company boundaries, to have the teams that are across company boundaries feel that they both share the same intent, that your interest is the same as my interest, to grow and pursue value at the end customer and deliver a higher outcome, and that the two teams will stand together and do the right actions to grow value for each other. Now, establishing trust is the basis of a good partnership, but establishing trust is not the only job of the partner manager. The partner manager has to lean in and make sure that the trust that is established also results in actions that help drive higher growth, that drive higher revenue. So these are not things that somebody else will come in and do. The partner managers themselves have to take the right actions, own the number, and drive higher revenue on the co-selling motion that is happening between the two partners. So this starts from things like sharing the right opportunity context with each other in a trusted manner so that both sides have the same perspective of what is happening at the customer. And then positioning our own salespeople with respect to the partner salespeople in such a way that both sales teams have the space to grow and add value to the end customer. Right? It should not become that my product is the best product in the world, and the partner may or may not layer around it, and still the customer will get value. So doing the right actions that help in generating revenue growth are stem and start from the partner manager, and the partner managers have to lean in and own that motion and own that revenue number as well. If you could go to the next slide. And what that translates into driving more revenue in this trusted context consists of the partner managers doing actions like these, which are very different from what the actions a traditional reseller manager or a channel sales manager does. The partner managers, to be productive, to make their partnerships to be productive, they have to understand the joint solution, the understanding of what are the strengths of the partner solution versus the strengths of our own solution. What is the positioning that the partner has taken on this opportunity in this region, in this market, and what is the positioning that we must take on sitting right next to them in this market and even on this opportunity, so that when the sellers connect with each other and connect with the customer, they are speaking to the same joint unified value proposition and not undercutting each other. Because once they start undercutting each other, trust starts getting eroded. When trust starts getting eroded, win rates start dropping. So the ability to master these skills and do them on a daily basis, on and per account, per opportunity basis, sets the tone for higher revenue to be delivered. And that has to be actively thought about and worked about by the partner managers, because the demand of productivity on partner managers has increased a lot as we observe across our customer base. If you could go to the next slide. Thank you. And it's been about a year since WorkSpan introduced our AI products to help partner managers become super productive. And it's been a fantastic ride. We have observed amazing results when partner managers use WorkSpan AI. We've seen them deliver 20% higher growth in pipeline within 3 months of deploying the solutions. We have seen deal sizes grow by 84% as this joint positioning comes into effect in opportunity after opportunity, account after account, where both partners working together result in a bigger project, bigger value being delivered at the end customer, and 27% higher win rates being delivered as the regional teams, the field teams get comfortable working with each other, and the customer can see the joint positioning and working, which eliminates competitions early in the sales cycle that then results in 27% higher, opposed to salespeople going direct without a partnership on opportunities and accounts. Now, these are substantial numbers. These are real revenue impact that happens when partner managers get more productive, leveraging WorkSpan AI. And if you could go to the next slide. We have seen that these results are relevant not only at the top of the scale when the partnerships are already mature, that the AI helps in growing the revenue outcomes, but rather our products being used at partnerships that are still getting defined, still in the ad hoc stages. Leveraging the AI capabilities to position the partnership properly helps establish trust sooner, which then allows more revenue engagements to happen which then starts the upward march of partnerships getting more productive and partnerships getting more mature together simultaneously. So today I'm very happy to come to this forum with a set of experiences behind us, and I'm joined on today's sessions with three of our customers, with three amazing leaders with such diverse and experienced background. It will be a joy for us to hear from them about what they see in the market, and of course about how we as at WorkSpan work with them. We'll have our first session with Nina Harding, who's our CVP of America's Global Partner Solutions at Microsoft. Our second session will be with the amazing David Meyer, head of Global AWS Alliance at Qualtrics, where uh, David and Alex will work together to show the WorkSpan AI in action. And the third session is something I'm really looking forward to with Bronwyn Hastings, the GVP of Global Partners and Alliances at DocuSign, where I'll be doing a fireside chat with her and asking her about the amazing new partner program that DocuSign has launched. So three amazing leaders, three amazing perspectives at this moment in time as partnership continues to grow and becoming a competitive edge, a revenue growth pillar for companies. And with that, let me first introduce my co-founder and friend, Amit Sinha, who will host the first fireside chat with Nina Harding. Amit, welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Mank, good to see you. Thanks for doing the intro here and your keynote. Fantastic to hear. Mike, before you go, I have a couple of questions for you.
Absolutely, Amit.
So, Mike, you've been a pioneer in the space, not just with WorkSpan's co-sell platform, but also in how AI is pioneering partnerships in a whole new way. So, as WorkSpan has been on this journey for last year and a half, right? What are, first of all, why did you, move the company in terms of its co-sell foundation directly into AI? And what has AI enabled WorkSpan to deliver uniquely for our customers?
Amit, you and I, we come from the big data space, right?
Right.
Before WorkSpan, we were pioneers in big data. We understand the power of data, and we understand the power of business intelligence, and now generative intelligence. Amit, we spotted very early that AI will be game changer in partnering. Partner managers are constantly stretched thin, and they have to think about how they can steer partnerships towards driving higher revenue outcomes. With AI coming in, we realized very early that WorkSpan can not just be a process automation layer which powers co-sell across company boundaries, but rather we should lean in and give the full AI stack of AI decision making, AI intelligence gathering, and AI autonomous acting, so that partner managers can become partner managers in not only running the co-sell process, which we were helping them do, but in honing the whole stack, the end decisions of revenue outcomes that they can make. And I think that decision has paid out so handsomely over the last 12 months. I'm so excited about what it will do in the coming 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, one more question, Mike. A lot of companies that are SaaS companies today are just putting AI in it, right? AI as a chatbot attachment to it. But what you've done with our product and engineering team is fundamentally different. It's bringing AI to all its layers. Can you talk a little bit behind the scenes as to what it took to put AI natively in WorkSpan as a sales engine?
Amit, of course, we had to re-engineer our stack. We went to the lowest granularity, and we added an agentic layer right at the bottom at the object layer. Every object in our system is now agentified, which means that from the ground up, from the moment the first data signal hits our system, the agents start thinking and acting and connecting the dots about what it means for the context of a particular partnership and what could those agentic actions be that can be proactively triggered to maximize the revenue outcome for the partner manager. That kind of re-engineering needed to be done. And once that engineering was done, the outcomes have been phenomenal.
Awesome, awesome. No, thank you for those insights and driving amazing innovation. It's been terrific partnering with you and the rest of the WorkSpan team together with our customers to bring this next age, the age of AI native partnering. So with that, I have the tremendous joy of bringing Nina Harding to stage. Nina, as you know, is CVP of Enterprise Global Partner Solutions at Microsoft. Terrific innovator. We are going to have a terrific conversation. As CVP of Americas, she oversees the strategy, the innovation, and the health of the entire Microsoft partnership portfolio. That's a big job. And you are, Nina, empowering all these partners to deliver an amazing innovation on top of Microsoft technology. So a warm welcome from our community to you, Nina. Good morning.
Well, Amit, thank you so much for having me here. And thank you for your partnership. You've made a material difference in how we are actually activating a lot of our partners today and making sure that we're following through on the promise of co-sell. So
absolutely. Nina, I'm excited about this discussion, but first, let's really talk about the amazing impact that Microsoft has had on the world. You've crossed, like just last quarter, 80 plus billion in overall revenue, 51.6 billion in cloud revenue. Congrats. You know, partners are a big reason for this success. So what has been your recipe in activating kind of a whole ecosystem at scale like this?
Well, the ecosystem itself is thriving right now, and I think it is super, super energetic as far as the opportunity that's ahead. So I think in particular, we have an opportunity at Microsoft where we're kind of transitioning from this conversation around AI being a possibility out in the market. But the reality is what we're doing with our partners is we're trying to make it very, very real at the field level. And what moves the needle is super specific to the workloads tied to business outcomes. So what you're hearing is not so much around the product and product specialization, but what you're really hearing about is what are we doing for the end client that actually moves the needle in their business. Sometimes it is those traditional ROI metrics like a cost takeout. Sometimes it's around productivity lifts, modernization. But oftentimes now what we're seeing is it's opening and unlocking new markets and revenue acceleration, which is really the exciting side of the equation that we're unlocking with our partners. And I would say that the partners who win aren't necessarily leading with an AI strategy. They're leading with experience, a tailored story around clear use cases, clear customer adoption with outcomes that map to funded customer priorities, especially things around modernization and security and transforming that customer experience that so many of our clients are looking for. Mm-hmm. And these partners are just showing how AI is accelerating those outcomes.
Fantastic. Together, you and your partners have really kind of out executed the market. It's competition between the ecosystems when we think about it. Mm-hmm. So congrats on excelling on that. Nina, this is something that I've seen personally. You are known as the remover of roadblocks in the ecosystem, especially with large companies. And I've watched you. These are results that I'm showing on the screen here from our initiative, Project Ascend, where you removed the roadblock of co-selling, where people are manually co-selling. You provided the automation for it. Mm-hmm. These are amazing results. FY24 to FY26, if you see, 45,000 opportunities shared with Microsoft. This is partners deriving 27 billion in pipeline. And that led to 5.2 billion in revenue earned for the partners. And this just on WorkSpan. Yeah, there's so much more out there as well. This is like we do just a fraction of it. Mm-hmm. within our stuff itself, we are seeing a 6x growth in revenue. These are astounding numbers. So take us behind the scenes. Why did you sponsor coastal automation for Ascend with your STCs?
Oh gosh. I mean, the most important thing at the end of the day when you measure a partnership is, are we successful together driving outcomes for our customers? And I'd love to say that we're all altruistic, but we're not, right? We have to be making money for our companies. And that co-sell is, I think, the most overused word that means so many different things to so many different companies. And really what I think WorkSpan did together with us in an initiative that we called Project Ascend is that we were able to leverage the fact that so many partners were already part of WorkSpan's co-sell program. And then we doubled down on that. We put more wood behind the arrow. And to your point, we kind of removed some roadblocks and just made sure to make sense of it and support it and to grow the opportunity. What we thought was going to be really beneficial and what we're seeing, and I think sometimes the numbers speak really well for them, is the key benefit for the partners in Project Ascend was the API automation between our companies, right? So WorkSpan reduces that manual deal uploads, allowing the partners to focus on market activation, strategic priorities, honing the value proposition, and making sure we have transparency between our companies on what we're actually working on, activating, and putting energy behind. For some of our larger partners, this has actually resulted in many more co-sell opportunities and faster connections with Microsoft sellers. And quite honestly, for my organization, we have more visibility and we can actually agitate on the pipeline and make sure that our partners are front and center to all of the incredible opportunities that we're also driving on our side.
Fantastic. All these important partners like Avanade, like Capgemini, like DocuSign, we're going to hear from Bronwyn Hastings later on. The way they have rallied around your call to action to automate first has been pretty exciting and endearing to see. So congrats and thanks for your amazing sponsorship.
Of course.
Now, pivoting to AI a little bit, you spoke about unlocking and you spoke about AI. Microsoft is both an AI company, but it's also one of the largest partner ecosystems out there, right? From where you sit today, what's the gap that you're seeing on how AI is being talked about, but what is actually moving the needle in the field today in terms of actually selling those solutions?
Yeah, I think the real gap I see today is just how fast can we all activate together. So we used to talk about enabling partners technically, but today the conversation is not just a technical enablement, but it's actually in how we have the conversation with customers as well. It's unlocking how to explore what is going to be most meaningful for their clients. And then the third thing that we're finding, which is interesting, is that it's not just about one, the technical enablement, two, kind of that pre-sales, but it's actually on the change management activation. So how do our partners make sure that they're showing up and activating within the client? So the field really responds well when you could talk about all three pieces of that equation and how you as a partner are differentiated. And what that comes back to is if they're embedded in our go-to-market motions, if they have a industry-specific message that resonates, and it is not a ubiquitous, I can do anything for everyone and the art of possibilities. We've moved beyond that. Now it's the art of precision and value. And that's really important.
What an important point, moving from the art of the possibility where companies are stuck in doing POCs and proving the value of POCs. What you're saying is now it's about precision. It's about delivering the outcomes. It's about moving those POCs into production on the highest value points, because in your opening, you talked about that. Are there some examples, or are there, can you double down on that message for the ecosystem here?
Yeah, I mean, so when we talk about the value proposition, I'm encouraging, and the way I'm seeing a lot of traction is if you think by industry or even sub-industry, what what are the use cases, the outcomes that you can drive? And is it at a persona level, meaning like a work group level? What are you doing within healthcare life sciences for the payers, right? Or the providers. Let's talk about providers. And then bringing it down to what is the value proposition that you might be able to help unlock around physicians or around the patient records or scheduling or even customer or patient support. This is where, as partners are honing what their value proposition is, it makes an immediate trigger with the field, and they know now who to call, bring in, and activate at their client location. So that, I think, is a really important point around how we get to that faster deal velocity and making sure that we have those co-sell opportunities that aren't always just one-off, but repeatable. We all want that. We all want that flywheel to go so that we're driving strategy together into the market.
Absolutely. And talking about the signal versus noise, and something that I picked from you, both you and Ron have talked about this concept of pre-pipeline, aligning the sales teams early across companies. And kind of this really allows you and your partners to kind of really hone in on the industry message, the use case message, and down to your point, right? Talking about, whether it's about healthcare and within healthcare about, let's say, providers or payees, and kind of getting down to the specific use case. So that early collaboration allows you to traverse all these layers very, very quickly and hone in on the value. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that pre-alignment is everything in today's world, right? And taking that extra time when you're working with a sales rep around, do you actually know the account? Do you understand their business problem? Can you articulate your particular value together with Microsoft and what outcome you could drive? That's a very different conversation than how we used to approach things in the partner world. And it takes a little bit more thinking and time, but an ounce of that pre-alignment actually makes for a much smoother sales process and much greater adoption with the field.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about some changes that Microsoft has done, right? So we saw earlier in the year, the Azure Marketplace and the App Store kind of coming together into one. We saw this whole focus around co-sell. So we're seeing co-sell and marketplace kind of become one and the same, right? Co-sell is marketplace, marketplace is co-sell.
Yeah.
We talk about this alignment both in the pre-pipeline stages down to the transaction through the marketplace.
Yeah.
Why should partners pay attention to this?
So there are a number of things we're doing. Let me talk first about the pre-alignment, and then let me talk about co-sell and how it works with marketplace a little bit. On the pre-alignment, increasingly we are looking at partners that have that unique industry, sub-industry, or persona level value proposition. And we actually map them internally to make those available to our field. That's a really good opportunity. So if you're not honing to that level of accuracy, you're probably not pre-aligned in the recommendations that are coming out to the field as a quick shot. So that's the first thing I really recommend. But co-sell has increasingly moved, in particular at Microsoft, to marketplace. And they're no longer kind of motions that we drive in parallel. Marketplace is becoming the commercial backbone of co-sell. It's not an optional channel anymore, and our field is paid off of marketplace transactions, right? And our customers are seeing value because they can deprecate their MAC agreements. And the field simply, they just want fewer steps from opportunity to close. So the partners that are transacting through marketplace are really removing a lot of that friction from sellers. And there is a clean procurement, a faster deal velocity, much clearer economics for everyone involved, which directly increases the field's willingness to engage. And that means we have a pretty high bar, right? Partners need co-sell ready solutions that are also marketplace ready. So that combination is the trick now, with aligned pricing and incentives and deal mechanics. So I really, really encourage everyone to be thinking about not just how you're priming your pump and how you have that unique value proposition, but that whole process of how do we work together so we've removed the friction, not only between our companies, but for the client itself.
Fantastic. What really amazes me is your new definition around SDCs, the software development company. It's not just ISVs, but also services partners.
Yep.
And, the value of the ISVs is known to, like, you have a product, you co-sell and you sell through the marketplace. But there's a new trend that I've seen. It's the SIs kind of packaging their IP and putting it on the marketplace as well.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that part of the SDCs. We are seeing SIs, in particular Microsoft SIs like Capgemini, Avnod, EY, and others, kind of packaging IP as well.
Yeah, it's super powerful, right? Let me talk about the SIs in particular, right? They're on the front lines with a lot of our clients. They are, let's talk about call centers, for example. They're going in and they're trying to help optimize call centers. And AI made really great headway in doing this in the call center methodology. And a lot of our partners are really understanding they can hone that experience into an IP that's unique to them. And what a better way than to take that and then build an agent that they can quickly get to value with a client. So when you're approaching a client, maybe telcos, for example, that have customer support areas, you can go in and say, hey, I have some quick wins for you, right? Here are some agents that will show a return on investment. I can show you across other companies, and boom, you can get to value really, really quickly. And then we can start working on some of the bend the curve adoption. We're seeing this left and right. What I'm encouraging is what you're hearing from me, and what I'm encouraging everyone to do is think about that captured IP, that productized IP, right? Those agents by industry, sub-industry, and by persona. And that's the way you can really map quickly and get the traction on the co-sell at Microsoft. And I think actually drive time to value for clients.
Awesome. One of the questions that I'm getting from the audience here, and I want to kind of intercede and ask this, oftentimes, people want to get Microsoft's attention, right? There's a reality check here. There are, resources are hard everywhere, especially when you're prosecuting at scale. So what does a partner need to do operationally? So let's say they have built this persona, they've had this industry-specific specialization, they build this agent, but this attention. What's your advice to them to get attention consistently from Microsoft?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, where do we put our attention in our personal lives? It's through our network. It's through what is gaining momentum. Where have we seen success? So when we go and buy anything or we lean into research anything, it's because we've seen that. We recently put on Partner Center, the ability for partners to actually detail and share their success stories and their use cases using AI to actually write those stories really, really easily. And that is an incredible way to gain that momentum. That gets piped all over Microsoft and right into our sales agent tools that the field uses with internally what we call MSX, which is our sales systems. In addition to that, don't forget the power of the success you've had with a particular sales rep. It is a viral community, right?
Yeah.
Sales reps, and I don't mean to oversimplify, but they are coin operated and ego driven, right? And so capturing their excitement in working with you, what you did to unlock, and capturing that in a short video or something that can then become almost like a reference internally, then you get that viral connection. And those are the two things I think of in addition to what I talked about earlier, which is really making sure that you're lined up to some of the sales plays by industry, those value propositions, but that you're very clear, very succinct, and you're ready to go versus trying to say, hey, I can do anything. What do you need? Right? That doesn't work anymore as far as getting any kind of attention.
One of the other things that I've noticed about you, Nina, is how you're inspiring your own team to use AI and be kind of the leader in that space. So talk a little bit about, how you've kind of brought this change first at home, or within Microsoft first, and then
Yeah.
to the whole partner system.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yesterday, I was noticing that before 10 a.m., I had probably used Copilot 10 different ways in the morning already. And I even had to stop and think to myself, wow, I've even changed so much how I do my business. Um, we can't be in the position of advocating AI for our
Mhm.
clients with any level of authenticity or even creativity if you haven't embraced it yourself. So, Microsoft often talks about Microsoft being customer one. We're going through it. So we're even internally, we're doing workshops on like, how do we embrace AI in sales? What does that look like? How do we extend our partner graph, for example? So we have much more information on a partner, and we allow the partner to actually influence that as well. But we're using AI in every way, shape, and form. I'm starting to have partner briefing docs, right? We all know about
Yeah.
those, right? Before I go in to meet with a partner.
Right.
Boy, it's AI is helping to take some of the heavy lift out of that. Performance reviews. I use AI, right? We're recording all these great conversations. Thinking outside of the box with a partner before I sometimes go into those meetings. I'm like, hey, is there something I'm not seeing that's happening in the market? I can ask our tools, right? Can you help me see around the corner or some ideas or suggestions? Some of them are good. Some of them are totally off the mark. But wow, is it just pushing us in new ways to think? And then last and I think most importantly, we're using AI to recommend partners into the field. So that granularity of how you show up internally is now actually informing the field on when to trigger you, what your value proposition is. So they're not just going to the same partner that they used on the last account, but they're going to the best partner that has the best experience, the most success with customers. And so, I mean, there isn't a way I'm not using it. I'm looking at our financials. I mean, you
Yeah.
not. It's just fun. Every Friday we do and I just share this because AI is not a training. It's not 3 trainings. It's a way of life now.
Yeah.
And so on Fridays, we do a best tips and tricks across the organization. And we use AI, and people can share how they're using it. And then what we also do is we play games. We do like Shark Tank with AI. We do things for a cultural like connection, just fun. And we just integrate AI into everything.
Wow, love it. It's a way of life, and it's a whole different way of life that is kind of pushes you as well to see beyond, to see around the corners,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of give you time back. And also, it's amazing how different people have used it for all sorts of different purposes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about this next phase beyond COSAL with the marketplace and also with joint account planning and what it could do as AI could do in the space for us. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for being an amazing sponsor in them. I have this last one question.
Mm-hmm.
If there's so many partner managers on this call, partner leaders on the call who lead, large partnerships today and are all driven to perform and show. So if you were to give them one advice on how they could be better and more effective in this world, even if it is for their own work or for Microsoft, what would it be?
Yeah. To me, it's like it just really make your unique value proposition simple for the sellers to understand. Make sure you're not using all the buzzwords and all the fancy, like I do transformation or I do X, Y, or Z, right? But make sure it's very real to them. So a clear story. It's succinct. It talks about customers, what the upside for the deal is. Understand what the economics are for the sales rep, right? Coin operated, ego driven, right? And how you transact it. Just making sure that you have that story really super, super nailed, and you're focused in that story on those outcomes.
Right.
And then on the active opportunities, do your homework and start with that value proposition first to the seller that you want to engage or get help with, rather than just saying, hey, what are you seeing? And so forth. An ounce of vulnerability or trust will be echoed back to you in magnifold. So
fantastic advice there, Nina. I've always been inspired of how you've removed roadblocks, how you've inspired lots of people around the Microsoft ecosystem. Looking forward to more questions from the community. With that, Chase, do we have more questions? I already seeded a few in the questions that I saw. Okay, Ace. All right, what's the most common thing you see partners getting wrong operationally? That's a good one.
Oh, operationally, so the reality is the sellers get paid. Your recognition is all on how you're tracking your deals and opportunities, right? And showing like what we call it at Microsoft Pracker or PAL tagging. And sometimes they don't understand the importance of it. It actually is quite critical to getting that momentum with the field, as well as to unlocking a lot of the benefits at Microsoft. So once again, a little bit of the plumbing work goes a long way on opening access to a lot of funding, visibility, and traction.
Absolutely. There's so much to know in this space with co-sell automation and how revenues are counted together, and having a firm grasp on that. People don't get it operationally right. It's not just the acronyms, it's the logic behind them.
Correct.
Whether it's ACR, MBS, Pracker, there's
You
tons.
got them. You got them, but it's worth spending a little bit of time, because that's quite honestly one of the ways, not the only way, but one of the most important ways we measure the success of the partnership together.
Yeah, maybe there's time for one last question. Also, is the marketplace convergence a skill set change or a process change, or both?
I want to make sure I understand what we mean by that. So, the market.
Let's expand on that. I know where Ace is coming from on that.
Okay.
So there used to be two different teams in many of these ISVs. So the idea that there was a marketplace team that's separate, kind of seen as revenue operations. Here's an alliance team that is doing co-sell, right?
Oh,
so it's like a skill set change, or is it the process change because two different people and skill sets are involved?
It's no, it's honestly all the same now. Marketplace sits within the partner organization. So that's the first thing. Secondly, the way that we pay the field on co-sell is all through Marketplace too. And the way that I recognize my sellers that are partner focused is also on Marketplace. So they probably felt a little bit more separate, and we brought, to your point, like that convergence has certainly happened, that we're focused as that is the main vehicle that we measure and we drive the co-sell through.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Nina, I've had over 60 comments while you were speaking here, so a lot of engagement from the audience. With that, I really thank you for spending your time at Partner Signal Live. A huge thank you from the whole community to you, and best ahead for your close of quarter. You guys are in Q4 now, right?
Yeah, we just flipped the switch to Q4, so good stuff. So great.
Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you so much.
Take care. All right. With that, let's move to the next session. I'm very excited about this one. I want to introduce David Meyer to the community here. David has had 2 decades of building and scaling partner ecosystems. This includes senior roles at AWS, running partner sales teams, as well as partner and customer solutions teams as well. He now heads up the AWS Alliance for Qualtrics. And AWS Alliance with Qualtrics, as you know, is a very decorated partnership. As you can see, last year they were the co-stars of co-sell winner here at WorkSpan. They've been the Global AWS Healthcare Partner of the Year, 8x year-on-year growth on Marketplace, demonstrated a lot of growth together in this partnership. They were also 2026 AWS Customer Experience Partner of the Year finalist as well. And not only just with AWS, with Sean Holcomb, with Matt Bergen, Emily, the whole Qualtrics ecosystem team has taken strategic partnerships, not just with AWS, but also with SAP, with Michelle and team there, driving how the SAP partnership with Qualtrics is growing. Next, didn't stop there. Sean was very consistent with driving it with 30 plus partners. With their Experience Summit just concluding, there was a huge momentum from partners. So I want to bottle some of that energy and bring on David to stage. David will be joined by my colleague, Alex Pilson. Alex is our VP of Sales Business Consulting. Alex and David, warm welcome, and take it away.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amit, thank you for that wonderful intro. Everyone here knows the reality. Building co-sell means educating both your sellers and your partners at the same time. David Meyer at Qualtrics is living that right now, launching an AI platform on AWS while navigating both sides of that challenge firsthand. David, thanks for being here with us. Tell me more about your world with AWS.
Thank you, Alex. What I'm going to share with you, it's not strategy, but co-selling, what we do on a daily basis. AWS or any hyperscaler co-selling starts with multiple phase sales cycles. Each co-selling opportunity starts with AWS account managers, partner sales, specialist sales, or go-to-market. The objective of AWS co-selling is to incentivize AWS to sell with Qualtrics into AWS accounts. Those co-selling motions are complex with multiple touch points before you even reach the customer. And these multiple points can require knowing and speaking in the AWS language. And those language include identify incentives to each AWS persona, understand the account manager's customer, the customer's AWS commitment, and marketplace propensities. Identify the customer's AWS services, needs, gaps. Is it SageMaker? If it is, it's AI. Is it Connect? Then it's Contact Center. Knowing when and where to tie 250 plus AWS service into co-selling discussions. Now you connect the dots on those knowledge into your AI product offering and work on engaging AWS and maintaining the opportunity cadence. And then there's more. Knowing where to invest your time and resources across all AWS opportunities. Everything I just shared with you is commonly known by AWS partners as tribal knowledge. Scaling these co-selling tribal knowledge, that is the challenge. So Alex, where do I start to automate these co-selling motions across all my internal sellers and AWS?
Wow, David, that's a lot. So here's where I think. So you start with knowing where to focus. Before you go to activate anyone, your sellers or the AWS team, you need to know which accounts actually are worth the fight. And you mentioned the AI platform that is new for Qualtrics, and not every account is ready. And you said yourself, doing a wrong deal with the wrong rep in a week is a week of your time that you're not going to get back because you're trying to pull all this together. Let me show you what WorkSpan AI does with that platform. Now, disclaimer, as we go through this, I want to mention to the audience that everything that we show here is not real data. It is just for demo purposes only. I am in WorkSpan AI, and this is your command center for AWS partnership. Everything your team knows, your co-sell rules, your playbooks, your reference customers, everything you said ties back to exactly what you said, David, the tribal knowledge you mentioned. It lives here. And it's accessible through WorkSpan AI agents that know both sides of the deal, like we talked about. It's your side and AWS side. So look, partnerships are very hard, and WorkSpan AI gives you the right tools and gives you the AIs to help you develop your partnerships and unlock that revenue. We heard that earlier about unlocking revenue from the partnership using AI. And I know you've had an early win. You were talking about it with the AI platform you launched, and it's a great example where that you can find more opportunities for something that's similar to that, right? So let me show you how to uncover those opportunities. As this is orchestrating, it is looking at all your data, everything we're talking about for the type of things that are going to be around your focus of the lookalike account. So if we look at the accounts, it's going to look for all the recent wins, all the strategic insight, and give you that at your fingertips. And just like that, searching across all your data, you're going to come to the top with the Boomi here, looking at the Qualtrics product fit, everything that's going to give you the rationale and the recommended approach to go after this account and build a strategic mapping out to this. David, this is where we're going to spend our time today.
You know, Alex, I like this. I like what I'm seeing. To do the same today, I have to build this list from 2 different data sources. And then I have to spend time chasing down account and opportunity contexts with different various stakeholders. Our current process is semi-automated, but it does require time-intensive manual queries with account executives and PSMs. This is an excellent starter, but I'm going to ask you this, the harder question. I have a list, but my seller may not even know what the platform is. Sellers may not know the AWS angle. How do I enable my sellers in the fastest way for top opportunity in this list? How do you take this list to the next steps?
All right. That's exactly the problem. Again, trying to enable those sellers, the answer lives in the deal your seller is already working. This is what your Qualtrics seller sees when they're open a Boomi opportunity. We just saw that. So if we're working on this Boomi opportunity in Salesforce, they do not log into a new tool. They do not file a request. They don't need you. They need the knowledge you have. And that card is right here in the deal they're already working on. This is the Partner Advantage card. It is WorkSpan AI inside Salesforce, trained on the Qualtrics AWS partnership on this platform specifically. The card has done all the work, and it is giving you these pointers of what to do with this account. So exactly the relevant information that is going to give you the insights and strategic information, and even inform the seller recommended solutions, and also data that is very relevant to what they need to do. So the seller doesn't need to call you, David. They understand this as an opportunity. They don't need to know the AWS co-sell playbook from memory. The system tells them right away.
Thank you. The cards absolutely does what I do today. They answer my daily inquiries, just like, should I send this opportunity to AWS? And what do I expect in return? How do I send this up to AWS? And here you have already sent it. Do you know the AWS account manager for XYZ account? Again, it's right there for the sellers to access. Which one of our product do you think AWS can help us co-sell? Again, here in the cards, it gives us the motion. And then, of course, relationship mapping. There's always the differences in how the relationships are mapped between AWS and Qualtrics. And especially where this comes in, when I have opportunity that's urgent, I have to stop everything. I have to do exactly the same things in manual effort to review the opportunity, to figure out which team in AWS, discuss with our AE on the current status, find strategies, find stakeholders. And Alex, I do this every day for every deal across hundreds of conversations in 3 regions, while also trying to run the Alliance program. So are there other examples of this that can help me?
So when we look at it from the seller perspective here, you don't want them to worry about what information you have, again, that tribal knowledge. But let me show you what happens next is watch the sequence because this matters. Because we have this built into the Partner Advantage card, the seller can create a referral straight to ACE right away. So simple as this, hit save, submit. It is now sending it to ACE exactly how it should be. It's formatted for all the fields, the right schema, and it submits it. No manual retry, no formatting errors. The submission goes out and every time. When I have the referral ID, that changes everything that comes next because it is bidirectionally synced. It now comes back and has the connective tissue to the ACE to your CRM. Now, the next thing that happens is because WorkSpan is a launch partner for AWS new APN 3 version 3 APIs announced last month, we have now can surface out the incentive eligibility right here in the card. So if I go down here and look at the incentives, I will know what I can qualify for this particular opportunity. And this changes the game because now you have the seller that can see before they walk into a meeting, they can offer a discount and undercut the competitors, and sellers love this. And there's one more signal I want to talk about in this card. So this is very important as well. So when we look at the account, you mentioned account mapping. Also, we have the AWS account plan here. This is an AWS account they've been trying to expand. And guess what? Qualtrics has the CMO connection. And now you have invited the Boomi CMO to all these different events. You've been working on this relationship. And now AWS has an opportunity to use Qualtrics as the gateway to build out this relationship. And all the rep has to do from the sales side is reach out to the AWS contact and give them the context that they just shared and said, hey, let's go ahead and send a message to them and introduce them to this as well. So we can send it through Gmail, Slack, Outlook, etc. And if I click Gmail, it's going to compose this exactly as is. So it's giving you the context, it's giving you the opportunity, it's getting in front and center with that AWS rep, and it's from the same card, and it's giving you such great traction and velocity to be able to get this deal moving fast.
What I'm seeing, Alex, the generated email, it is in AWS language, but leading with the CMO's intro. That's highly effective.
Yeah.
The fact that ACE has been submitted, referral IDs only email, has an intelligence by the CMO and specific research budgets, but everything that is in this email has all the context that I write daily across deals and reps. And when I send them to AWS rep, I also want the same attention and engagement. And I think this type of email, automated, can do that for me. And I need the AWS rep to say, yes, they want to follow up because they understood the language and they understood the incentives. Just as important, though, what you have just shown here is that my sellers can do this without me. They don't have to call me. They don't have to Slack me. They don't need me for any incentive discussions. They don't need me for ACE submissions. They don't need me to figure out how to persuade AWS rep to engage. This, Alex, is what scaling looks like to me.
Yeah, so this is really the culmination of all the technologies and that tribal knowledge and giving you the context in real time to be able to have that conversation. David, one more thing. We followed this one deal through the whole motion, but you're not running just one deal. You're trying to build a program. Let me show you what that looks like from the top. AWS Influence Pipeline, deal outcomes, how the program is going, how it's growing, and the same story you'd build for a QBR, except it's already here. It's QBR ready dashboard built from actual activity the system is processed, not a spreadsheet assembled the night before. David, does this change the conversation with your AWS leadership?
Absolutely. You know what I have today, right? If I use APN portal, it is AWS only, does not have Qualtrics. If I go to Qualtrics, it does not have AWS. You gave me a dashboard that I have been looking for that contains the context of both. And it helps me to simplify my QBR reporting. Right now, with what I have, I know I have activities. They are dispirited. I know things are moving. I don't have a clear picture whether I'm on track for our commitment with AWS quarter to quarter. That gap creates a whole lot of anxiety before every review because we have to match the numbers, we have to match the counts, we have to show year to year percentage, and you have done this for me. If this view is live, I can monitor it on daily, weekly basis and make course corrections. You know what's even more important, Alex?
Tell me.
Any leader in my organization can see this without asking me. That's another layer you can peel off my bottleneck right there.
Excellent. This was a lot of information that we just went over, and I want to come back to where we started. David, you're in the middle of building something real, a platform that's technically AWS native, strategically aligned, genuinely valuable, and a co-sell motion that doesn't exist yet. You're educating your team and the AWS team simultaneously, deal by deal every week. Everything we showed you today is pointed at the same thing. It's giving the work that you only can do, the relationships, the strategy, the moments that actually move the program. David, the last word is yours for someone building a co-sell program right now, especially around something new. What would you want them to take away from today?
Love the takeaway to be knowing that the challenge is not the strategy. I know exactly what a great partnership looks like. The challenge is the operational aspect of maintaining and managing the partnership and lack of intelligent automation to help me or any partner with this. And that also foster a do-it-yourself culture with siloed tribal knowledge across different partner ecosystems. So what you showed today, it changes my execution. My sellers will know what to do, when to involve AWS before they even have to ask me. The AWS outreach is specific enough to activate follow-ups. Again, continues that motion. I am least likely have to be involved in pushing every one of those motions. Submission then's right, and with the same QBR follow-ups, the program is visible. So that gives me the time to lead the alliance strategies and building relationships. I am no longer just evangelizing and running operations. I've spent my career trying to scale partnership programs. This is the first time I've seen something like this that actually changes what my workflow looks like. This matters to me professionally. But I'm going to share something else with you that it matters to me personally. That in the end, you know the saying, if you're a family person, your kids are the only one that remembers you work late. No one else does. And they are asking for my time.
Yeah.
And I would love to use the AI automation to give my operational time back so I can give it to my kids. Thank you, Alex.
Wow. That hits home, and you just nailed it. That's exactly it. And you know what? This has been a wonderful session, David, and I appreciate you being here. Amit?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Alex. This was a real peek behind the scenes of a real partner manager's day in the life. And it hits home because I have 3 kids and my eldest is going to college this year. And I know how tough it was for her. She needed my time, for example. So the ability to reclaim time, become more strategic, this is so personal. So what you just saw, David said it. It's when you go to, a portal, a partner portal, it's their data. When you go to your own CRM, it's your data, but there's no place, a shared context, if you will. So on one side, on your company, on the other side, your partner company, WorkSpan AI, it creates that partition shared partner context. Now, on top of this shared context, if you will, where the knowledge repository lies, but also the real-time data lies. This is the data on your accounts, on your opportunities, where you're together engaged, permission-based, secured. And this is not just any data sharing, it's field-level data privacy. This is connected, right? And I remember this way back, our next speaker, Bronwyn Hastings, is going to come on. She pioneered this, field-level data privacy back at SAP. When they did COSAL with WorkSpan for the first time. This secure data sharing, that's why security companies like Palo Alto Networks or, audit firms like Deloitte and, companies like Microsoft, for example, you heard Nina, who was very conscious about security. They have this real-time API-based sharing access and creation of that trusted execution pathway, if you will, in terms of connectivity across companies that creates that foundation. Now you have this complete foundation, a shared context, data sharing, execution, back and forth. You have a real-time system, a partner revenue platform. Now, when this is secure bidirectional platform lives in this space in between, we as partner managers, we wear double badges. On one side, we have to represent our company. On the other side, we have to understand the partners, right? So this creates that context, this real-time nature that David was talking about, of micro moments where this whether you're writing an email, whether you're accepting an opportunity, whether you're thinking about an incentive, it's a shared context that's important. So if you build to the next slide, on this precious real estate or this space in between partners, you have this two-sided agentic partner execution. The partnership team is enabled by agents. It's an agent-first strategy. These AI agents that you saw, for example, whether it's an agent for Microsoft or for AWS or Google or DocuSign with its strategic partners, this is the aid to the partner manager. Because this is doing three key processes, if you saw. As David was showing, and Alex was showing from the CRM, which in this case was the host company's Salesforce instance, you saw how sellers were being activated. Even before sharing an opportunity at the account level, at the opportunity level, sellers were being proactively informed as to what a partner could do. So you as a partner leader, for example, can now drive mandates such as partner attach, because now every seller is informed just in time. It could be 2 a.m. in the morning, it could be 24/7. And as Nina was talking about, it's not just few, because it's a resource that you can give on few partnerships only. Now you can prosecute all 20,000 accounts 24/7, bringing sellers the power of your partnership in real time. So that's the first piece. The second piece is a process automation. Can't stress this enough. This platform foundation for COSAL, for Marketplace, for any number of partnering motions out there, whether it's incentive management and others, this automation is key, because gone are the days where you could tell a partner manager, hey, work on spreadsheets, because we don't have tools for you. We don't have automation for you. Now the moment has arrived where this is expected. It's table stakes. And lastly, it's about attribution. It's about showing up to leadership. You saw with the QBR, chart that Alex showed. It's not about QBRs. David talked about how every day, every moment, every week, that visualization is there, that attribution is there to prove the value of partnerships to internal executives, external partners, to hold them accountable at the same time. So there's nowhere to hide now. There is real numbers, real attribution. So it's not the squeakiest partner, it's the data that speaks for itself. And that's why we were so confident when we shared the Microsoft Project Ascend numbers up there, because it's measured to the last decimal point in terms of partner attribution. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the new two-sided agentic partner execution system. It's an AI agent-first strategy, helping your sellers, helping your partner managers, helping the entire partnership team with attribution. So this is the platform behind the scenes. And let's go to the next slide here. So Mike talked about this. If you look at every partnering motion, it's going through COSAL now. So whether you are an ISV tech partner ecosystem, you're driving that, You have to co-build a partner. You have these joint solutions, but now you need to take those joint solutions to market. Co-sell is the answer. It's a trusted AI-first bidirectional system between you and your partner to really understand which accounts there are overlaps, where do you want to go sell together, and how do you actually get the co-sell deal registrations going with ISV and tech partner ecosystem. Some amazing logos here, whether it is talking about companies, tech leaders like Cisco, SAP, running their ISV and tech partner programs using WorkSpan is a huge example of this. Services partners, oh my God, ISVs and GSIs and ISVs, SIs, as we heard Nina talk about it with hyperscalers, working together, right? Co-sell is a key motion. As opposed to based on solutions, this happens on accounts, because you've always met a client account lead or for a given SI partnership. That client account lead knows the client context to the last degree, as Nina talked about. If you look at the success that Avanad has had in the Microsoft ecosystem, it's exactly about this expertise that they bring about the customer, but also about the solution that they're able to co-sell together. That's where the extraordinary results come from. Managed services partners. This is a new, this has taken over in the last, 4 or 5 years, and it's become such a key motion for so many companies. A great example of this is ServiceNow on WorkSpan. The MSPs pre-buy inventory, and they are now co-selling with those MSPs to understand where the inventory will be burned down. So there are no surprises towards the end of the quarter, because you could be co-selling on a new deal versus on an existing pre-buy that you're burning down. So such collaboration is actually important to manage the MSP motion, if you will. Great example. And then we've talked about hyperscalers and cloud partners. These companies are so incented in driving the co-sell motion because of the massive ISV and GSI momentum around them. It's not just these strategic partners. What is really observable is Jay McBain talks about this very, very passionately. Gone are the days where resellers could thrive on 3% margin. It's no longer there. So what these resellers are doing and distributors are doing is also participating in co-sell. So if you look at some of the most newest innovations we have been working on, distributors like TD SYNNEX, resellers, working with companies like Presidio and others, they want to participate in co-sell and collaborative selling with these strategic partners at the same time. It's not just pure move the box transaction selling. So co-sell for resellers, driving CPPOs, MPOs in the Microsoft and AWS world. This is where the PRM is now integrating with WorkSpan as well. So if you have had a partner portal, if the deal registration happens for a reseller through that, bring that deal registration to the co-sell platform in WorkSpan, and now you can co-sell with the reseller and the strategic partner together on things like channel partner private offers or multi-partner offers. And Alex showed this, your CRM, you can activate your sellers by connecting to it. And all of this is enabled by AI agents that are purpose-built for every partnership, right? So that's the example where the context of your partnership with, DocuSign, for example, or your context of that partnership with Microsoft, for example, will be different. And they need different, secure, shared, trusted space where the agent and its knowledge lives that can advise you uniquely. So that's our differentiation. We believe that instead of company-owned AI agents that just work on your data, for partnerships to succeed, you need AI agents that are bidirectional, that operate on that trusted space in between companies with data from both companies. So it's not my agent or your agent, it's our agent put together. And I think that's the key for these use cases to thrive. So if you look at these routes to market, they come down with 2 use cases. So the ISV tech route to market has use cases around co-solutioning and co-selling. The services partner route to market has use cases around joint account planning, because client account leads and their accounts are important, and then co-selling on those accounts with opportunities. MSPs is around, hey, what inventory did you buy? Where are you co-selling with me to burn this inventory down? With hyperscalers, it's about, hey, you have this packaged IP, whether it's ISV or SI, SDCs, as the new term in Microsoft is there, but also with AWS and Google. What's that joint IP that we are co-selling on? And can this burn down the huge commitment, the cloud commitment that the customer has? and as a substrate for co-innovation going forward as well with AI, because as you can imagine, these hyperscalers are massive, innovation centers on AI themselves. So, and then the reseller use cases around not just deal registration, but along the deal lifecycle, resellers are earning lifecycle incentives, as Cisco does this so well in the industry. And it's not just co-sell along the lifecycle; it's also co-sell post-sales, where you're driving adoption. You're also transacting through the marketplace. So this whole motion that used to be like hands-off now become very collaborative. So these are the use cases that we are seeing across our customer base, and would be excited to talk or share if you need any more details. Let's go to the next slide. And with that, I'll conclude. Think about WorkSpan AI as a partner revenue platform. It's that one platform for your entire partner business, where every partner type, every motion, all the way from your first deal registration to managing this at scale, it connects to your CRM, but also the partner CRM, or connects to any CRM. We've got now connectors into, we have native experiences inside Salesforce, Dynamics, HubSpot. And the last one that we announced was for the ServiceNow CRM. And this is very, very powerful. From that point of view, you have a connected bidirectional shared context. You can coordinate these workflows. There's a trusted space that is, as I said, in between. Now with AI agents, it's completely powered. And you have these shared workflows and data that go across. It's not a disconnected experience, it's a coordinated experience. And now it's comprehensive. You don't need a tool for just doing your hyperscaler partnerships. So if the 3 PIs, as it's known in the ecosystem, you just, that they just address the hyperscaler motion. But what about adding it for SIs? What about adding it for resellers? And combine all of this into the power of your ecosystem. Your hyperscaler partnership plus your services partnership makes it exponential. So it's about that comprehensive co-sell platform. And huge, proof points behind this. As WorkSpan, we have now done 513 billion in shared pipeline across companies, 196 billion in closed business. This is just staggering. This movement that started 5-6 years ago has this kind of outcome now, with leading companies like Boomi, Palo Alto Networks, DocuSign, Deloitte, Microsoft, AWS, Google, NVIDIA, Cisco. These are the leaders who are doing it with us on the WorkSpan platform. So excited about this. With that, let me bring on the next speaker. And I'm really excited about Mayank and Bronwyn Hastings' session here. So Mayank, Bron. First, Bron, tremendous thank you from my side. You're pioneered. I see you as one of the pioneers of co-sell. You started on co-sell when everybody else was not doing it. So
thank you. It's been a journey. Thank you.
It's been a journey. So take it away, Mayank, Bron.
Thank you, Amit. Hello, Bron.
Hi, Amit. Hi, Mayank.
Let me introduce you to our audience. So Bronwyn Hastings, Bron for short, is the GVP of Global Partners and Alliances at DocuSign. She spent nearly 30 years building some of the most consequential partner ecosystems in enterprise software at Google, SAP, Citrix, UiPath, and now DocuSign. She's helped customers and partners navigate the various changes that have happened in partnering. But now at DocuSign, she's helping DocuSign think about partnering differently as DocuSign positions to organize itself around intelligent agreement management layer in this age of AI era. Bronwyn is one of the most respected voices in the partnering world, and I'm personally genuinely thrilled that she's here. Please join me in welcoming Bronwyn. Bronwyn, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to the conversation today.
Bronwyn, DocuSign is one of those rare companies where everybody knows what the DocuSign company does. But what DocuSign is now gearing up to do for the future looks very different from what we all assume, which is the owner of the signing document that forms a trusted space for agreements to be executed. You yourself have described this pivotal moment in DocuSign history as a platform movement. Could you help us understand what DocuSign looks like right now, and why partners are so central to how you are helping DocuSign shape their future?
Thanks, Mayank. And you're right. Everyone knows us as pioneering e-signature. We're 20 years in the e-signature. We're synonymous with defining that moment of someone signing and sending a document and it's done. In fact, I have so many moments. I'll be in an Uber, in an elevator, in an airport, and someone says, I love DocuSign. But what they're really saying is they love e-signature and the simplicity of what that brought. And so I do need to spend a little bit of time going through where we are today so that you understand what we're doing with partnering and why some of these moments are so important. So if you think about it, we've got 1.8 million paying customers. And then last year alone, we saw 1.2 billion documents signed through DocuSign. So when I hear those numbers, I always sit back and go, wow. But what it comes with is an incredible volume of trust with customers. And that's the foundation that our customers and partners have built around, is that trust, secure environments with the e-signature. But we're now starting this transformation journey. And what we're doing is the enterprise have trusted us with their most sensitive agreements for almost 2 decades. Now we're using that trust to go deeper. And we're not just signing agreements anymore, we're managing the entire process and putting the intelligence inside that document to work. So we're calling that DocuSign's Intelligent Agreement Management, IAM for short. And it really poses this incredible opportunity for partners. Now imagine this, you've gone from e-signature and the opportunity is intelligent agreement management. Think about obligations in the agreements, think about the risk profiles in the agreement, think about triggers that are needed. And a lot of companies call that the dark data of information in enterprises, and they could never use it at scale until AI changed that equation. Now we're at that moment of capturing data that we can act on. So it does change what we need to do in our ecosystem, and I'll come to that in a second. But here's where it gets truly transformative. It's agentic AI, as we all know. So moving towards a world of autonomous workflows, agents making decisions and triggering actions. But every one of those agents at some point is going to touch an agreement. Whether it's written in any other application, at some stage, the process touches an agreement of some sort, whether it's templatized or legal or something else. So the question we're asking is who governs that moment, who provides the layer of that autonomous action when legal obligations are in play. And, we really think of this as the agreement layer of an agentic enterprise. So to sort of close off my comments here is, at DocuSign, we now platform is our strongest part of the ecosystem. Partners are the multiplier in that story. We know that the partners have to be the multiplier in that story. Agreements don't live in a vacuum. I was sitting here listening to all the comments before. They live in a context of either SAP or Salesforce or Microsoft or Coupa or Workday, or you can talk about all of our relationships where agreements touch and live. And living inside those very large models, whether it's also where people work, like Slack and Copilot, and the list goes on. So the agreement intelligent layer is a really important part of how we actually work. And because we've got 20 years of data around that, and we've got powerful, trusted AI and agentics around it, it really is the place that we now need to transform the value customers derive from that and the value that partners can participate in. So I just wanted to give you that background a little bit of why what I say next in context is so important about these co-sell and connected motions.
That's a fascinating transformation, right? It's about the the aggregate, the accumulation, the corpus of agreements that need to be governed and managed. And in this context, as you create the space for partners to help you take that position at the customer, how do you think about engaging with different types of partners on this central new augmented positioning of DocuSign that DocuSign has taken?
Well, you heard earlier from Nina on, the Microsoft approach to Better Together was Ascend. And so we are one of the Ascend partners. So I'll spend a little minute maybe just showing how that comes together. But, Microsoft has consistently demonstrated a commitment to fostering an ecosystem where their partners can thrive and are also part of delivering the business to business direction. So where they focus strategically. And, one of the things when I was listening to Nina, she spoke about shared use cases, outcomes, transforming companies as a core element of what this phase of transforming with AI really means. And if you heard the story before that I used, we're doing exactly the same. So we do have to look at how do we do these things together. We do co-innovation with Microsoft. We do it with Salesforce. We do it with Workday, all the companies that I've mentioned, right? So one of the things that's so fundamental is, and I think Nina mentioned it as well, is we've got to remove friction and we've got to unlock this with simplicity. And a key component of that strategy has been to how do we really jumpstart? If you think about where we are in our transformational journey, how do you jumpstart that co-selling motion, where primarily what you're doing is to try and bring that joint value together transparently. And part of that is we were one of the first partners with Nina on WorkSpan as an example, as that starting point to really integrate WorkSpan into streamline our joint sales motions, increase visibility and shared pipelines. And ultimately, and this is the one thing I do add compared to what I've heard in our previous conversations, is to be able to deliver accretive value. If you think about 1.8 million customers, there's a large customer base there. But what we're trying to do is bring accretive value in this journey to our joint customers. So that's one chunk. For me, success of co-selling really relies on the fundamentals of, and I use this collaborative mindset. When we're engaging in these co-sell opportunities, it's absolutely essential to intentionally create and leave space for other partners to show their unique value. We've both got to be able to show our unique value, but why it's better together, and being able to demonstrate how that collective offering is the best solution for a customer to choose. So I'm very much focused on, we don't want to, and people that have heard me talk before, neither of us want to be interchangeable. When we are co-selling, the one thing we want to do is have an offering that make us undeniably the choice of value together. And so that's very pivotal to this. And then how do you make sure that that is made available? How do you make sure that it is getting to the sellers and the customers in a cohesive way? So for me, it is about moving beyond simply coexisting, but actually intentionally bringing value and then seamlessly structuring that so that we can answer customers' needs and pain points with value that is well managed, transparent, and brings it to the field as well as to the customer and I think that's the co-selling winning strategy.
That's so well put, Juan. Intentionally create space where the unique value of each shines through, so that then the together story becomes the undeniable choice of customer. What a clear way to say the principle of co-selling, where you recognize strengths of each partner. Now, Now, as you think about in this day of age, as AI helps you bring these co-selling truths to life on each engagement, I know you came into this in this conversation with a very clean, clear framework. Could you share with the audience what your framework of how AI enables partnering?
Yeah, I really came in, and because we are newer in this journey, I really came into this with an AI agentic first mindset. So, how do I make sure that as we take our program on this journey, as we take our partners on this journey, and as our field and customers experience us, how do we bring an AI first mindset to what we do? And so there's three areas I sort of focus on. This is the way I usually say it is always on AI. So not just using AI interactively when someone asks, but how do you make sure that AI is always on to support your partners? And it's a little bit of a different mindset. So for example, one of the things that we started with was how do we make sure partners are ready to do what we're asking them to do in conjunction with this shift we're doing? So we implemented something called a DocuSign AI sales coach. And that coach, I'll give you a little bit of a description, that coach is there, obviously trained with our messages. But as we bring something out, it can do multiple things. It can help a partner test their ability to design the message. You can choose things like the tone of the customer or not. You can practice on a one-to-one basis with the agent that's supporting you and coaching you. And it gives you summaries of how well you did on certain things. What it also helps us with is tracking capability and competency the whole time. And it allows us to see, when someone says they're certified, but they may still be having problems, how do we improve the coach to actually do the job of being always on? They can do it at 12 o'clock at night if they wanted to, preparing for the next day. They don't have to wait for the next webinar. So this real AI first, always on mindset of supporting, a little bit like was said in the previous session, but always there to coach, help, and move the partner to where we would like them to be able to serve the customer best and to have their best reputation. The second way, when we look at integrating AI into the partnerships, we're looking for, I'd say, an AI experience. And so what we looked at here is when we integrate AI into our partnerships, it shouldn't just be an addition. And it's a little bit like, again, I heard in the previous session, it should be looked at with a magnifying glass. How can we we should never turn up as a customer unprepared. That's one thing. AI should never allow you to turn up at a customer unprepared. But the second thing is uncoordinated. AI gives us the ability to be able to be truly orchestrated and truly coordinated, and how we turn up as partners together. And so that's what I'm looking at. WorkSpan, which we just went live a week ago or so. That's what I'm looking for WorkSpan to bring to the table. It's a great example of where we can actually orchestrate and understand where we're focused, what our joint value is, and have a really customer and partner-centric go-to-market model. And then the last point I would bring is improved performance. Now, all of those statistics that were used at the start, it's a set of statistics that we should always be monitoring for, in my opinion, my humble opinion. We know, and I will use the JMAT Bain comment in a little different context. We know that in any customer, any larger customer, there are at least 6 partners at play. So it's not about coordinating even one-to-one. What happens if we call it a triple play? What happens if there's 3 partners? We know the win rate's higher. We know the deal sizes are bigger. We know that the adoption is higher when we're orchestrating it from meeting the customer where they are. So this is really about how do we accelerate that sort of intelligence and make sure that both the partner experience and the customer experience together is what we would want it to be. And so we're only just really getting started, and there's just so much more that we can do as we move forward.
Yeah, Ron, the potential to have AI impact in this 3-dimensional framework that you set up is immense, right? It's always on. It can be watching for more value delivery moments. It's orchestrated and coordinating every engagement action, but ultimately in the service of delivering an improved performance, right? Improved business performance, improved outcomes for the customers.
Correct.
And I believe that AI also has a tremendous role to play in delivering on the accretive value where the engagement is uniquely designed for the partner's unique value, right? Because
Yes.
as at DocuSign, the way you engage with Microsoft as a cloud partner, for example, is different from the way you engage with your CRM partners like SAP or Salesforce or GSI partners like Deloitte. These are different partner types, but more importantly, they play different roles in that co-selling motion. Does AI have a role to help improve the accretive value that can be coordinated between you and your co-sell partner, as DocuSign seller engages with the partner seller at a customer site?
So I'm going to break that down in Mayank into two areas. We have a clear strategy, design the value for the customer and the reason someone chooses us together in an AI agentic world. So that's still the clear strategy. But it's not only about the integration of technology, which is what I also said. And I think Nina said a little bit of this before, but how do you activate the value at the customer? And this is where, AI can really be put into action. And then the second thing is, how do you remain transparent, bringing that joint value and joint relationship mindset across different personas? So it could be different personas in those use cases at the customer, could be different personas at the partner, could be different personas even in the field. So that's the challenge we're all facing, and I heard it described before. I would also say that even although we all say that this is clear, execution is often fragmented. It's just a reality. You're bringing so many pieces of a puzzle together to try and make that picture. So the co-sell does look different for each partner, can vary by country, can vary by partner type that you're selling with. So sometimes I was smiling when Amit was describing the different models of ISV or solution selling versus managed service provider versus SI. Imagine putting all of those together then and trying to maintain that value. So for me, really, the partner managers have a big challenge. But this is where AI can end these orchestrated agentic moments that are really bringing these partnerships to life in your core CRM systems, whether you've got territory planning, whether you've got things like Gong helping you identify partners, the orchestration of that in those flows is where an AI-enabled environment with that orchestrated trust is really important. And I do want to double down on the trust thing. We're a company that runs on trust. Trust is one of the fundamental things we've got to keep, both with our customers, our partnerships, and how we actually work even with our field. So that trusted layer. So for me, working with a WorkSpan powered environment allows us to expand our model. We started it actually in this instance with Microsoft, and we're expanding it to the rest of our relationships that we work with as well. And it is that principle of designed value for each partnership or design value for each play, whether it's a triple play or a quadruple play or whatever you want to call it, taking out friction and taking out guesswork so that you know what that is. It's supposed to be seamless, repeatable execution with co-sell motion. So that's my sense of how AI in each of the product areas that we bring together, they've all got AI. How do we make them work that repeatable, seamless way? And WorkSpan's co-sell capability from being transparent, bidirectional into core systems and using the benefit of those integration points truly helps us create the trust through transparency.
And in many ways, Ron, the C-suite, the executive team is expecting the partnering teams to go through this transition.
Yes.
With leveraging AI to make them more productive, more relevant, more coordinated in the pursuit of the corporate objective, right? And so the pressure on the partner manager is quite high to, as you said, to manage their day-to-day and deliver to these outcomes. So in this moment, what would your advice be to your partnering teams? Right? How are you inspiring them to go through this moment of time?
I'm going to use a shocking statistic. I was recently at a customer and they said they had 800,000 agents. How do you manage that?
Yeah.
So what's most important for me and what I really talk to our teams about is understanding two or three things. One is when we have a look at AI, it does need to have some guardrails. You need to think of it in the context of process or personal productivity. And how do you create the guardrails so that the AI tools that you're using and the way that you bring something like intelligent agreement management to life is always in context? If you think about that and you start to think about what context is my AI working in, where is the intersect point of that context? And therefore, how do I bring value into it in that context? Then it starts to simplify the way that you work. I think Nina said it, she works on so many different ways of using AI. But when you're trying to bring it into productivity and is it personal? Is it process? Are you disrupting something that you can bring something new to? And so in my mind, that's what I also talk to my teams about is, one, you should never turn up unprepared for anything because AI can tell you a whole lot. But once you have that formed, how you operate within an AI context, how you make sure you keep that transparency going with shared plans, shared visibility, joint metrics around it is part of that process base where you want AI to be part of your agentic journey as an individual as well and as how you work as well.
Fantastic and clear advice. Ron, we have a few minutes. Shall we take a few questions from the audience?
Yes, please.
Awesome. So Ryan Orman has a question. If you are advising a partner program starting from scratch, what are the first one or two start building joint pipeline?
That's an open-ended question. So it really depends on your business. And what I would always say is, what is the role you're expecting partners to play? Is it that you're trying to co-sell for getting, and I'm talking about a SaaS world or a consumption world? Are you co-selling to get the booking to adoption? Or are you co-selling because you want to be able to attach the next phase of land and expand? So my view is it's always starting from what role is the partner playing, and then where do you start the life cycle journey with a partner? My personal preference is It actually doesn't matter whether it's resell or co-sell for implementation purposes. Always design it to start early, because your acceleration of value in a consumption world is always the piece of the puzzle that will catch you if you don't design it at the start. So for me, co-sell starts either motion. Make sure you're designing for how you get to the fastest time to value with your co-sell.
Fantastic. I think this was a fantastic conversation, Bron. Such clarity on multiple dimensions that you brought. If I was to summarize it in a couple of phrases that you used, look for a creative value, look to intentionally create space in a unique value that makes the partnership to be the undeniable choice of the end customer. And the three principles of agentic use: always on AI, orchestrated and coordinated, and in the service of an improved experience and improved performance. Fantastic, Bron. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And if there's any questions that are on there that I can answer later, please feel free to reach out to me too.
Absolutely. With that, let me bring Sam back on the stage. Sam, over to you.
Thanks, Mayank, and thank you, Bron, again for being a part of this. Thanks, everybody. I know we've been on for a full morning here, but what a day. We looked at how the AI moment is here, right? We're past the point where it's theory. We have real teams putting AI into their practice to drive real results with their partnerships. One thing that jumped out at me across Nina, David, and Bron's sessions was, even though, as Mayank called out in the beginning, there's a convergence on a need for bidirectional data sharing, for coordination throughout the deal lifecycle, and even beyond close into servicing the customer. That convergence on co-sell doesn't mean that working with other companies is getting simpler. The collaboration with every different partner type is different, and even different partners within those types are all truly one-to-one opportunities. And the partner managers that have the vision to build in that complexity and unlock that opportunity are doing tremendous things. And I feel like AI is the tool that those partner leaders have been waiting for. So fantastic sessions today. We'll share these slides. We'll share the takeaways. Quick plug for the places where you can meet us and see WorkSpan in person, meet us in person. Chase, take us to our last slide, please. We're going on the road. We'll be at Google Next very soon here in Las Vegas. Would love to see you for dinner. Reach out to your WorkSpan representative. Get in touch with us if you're going to be there too. We'll be at Microsoft's Marketplace Community webinar just the next week after that. And then two of our community partners, partnership leaders, hosting their Catalyst event here in San Francisco. I'll personally be there. Would love to meet you for the event and then for dinner following that. And then Ultimate Partner with Vince Menzione in Bellevue the second week in May. So lots of great events coming up for partner leaders that want to see the latest and greatest in AI. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and for being with us here this morning. That's our show. That's Partner Signal Live. We are WorkSpan. We are here to help partner leaders and businesses achieve more together. Thanks, and let's have a great day.